Welcome to Wednesday Night Slides, number 69. We're going to stick close to home for much of this tonight. Um, South Jersey, a lot of it over in Philadelphia for a little bit. We're going to finish up in Colorado for it's all done, though. Let's get right to the program. You all should be seeing the opening slide there.
We are.
Have it in South Carolina.
And
We are in Missouri.
And feel free to jump in with any questions or comments. Easiest way to do it is to press the space bar on your computer and ask your question, make your comment. Feel free to jump in. We are going to get started here over in Philadelphia. SEPTA is still running their Heritage Silverliners over there. And if anybody had told me a year ago that I'd be like out chasing Silverliners around, I would have thought you were crazy, but they're still out there running. This is not a Heritage Silverliner. This is one of the regular Silverliner 5s going through Bryn Mawr on the old Pennsy main line. Bryn Mawr is a good place to shoot because the interlocking is right in the station, which means they can't have fences between the tracks because of all the switches and stuff. Here comes Amtrak going east past the old Bryn Mawr Tower, which still stands. Train from Harrisburg. And here comes the Silverliner I was after, the Pennsylvania Railroad Heritage Silverliner. It's got the Keystone on the front, along with the old SEPTA meatball logo. And you can see, compared to the other Silverliner 4s behind it, it has no bands on the window. It's the way it looked when they were originally delivered. Now, the Pennsy never got Silverliner 4s. They had gone into Penn Central before the Silverliner 4s were delivered. But nonetheless, it makes for an interesting car. With that out of the way, I went a few blocks south down to the Bryn Mawr station on the Norristown high-speed line. We got one of their N5 cars. This is going away, heading toward Norristown from Upper Darby. And here comes an inbound car heading towards Upper Darby, also at Bryn Mawr. And then over to Radnor to get a couple of Norristown cars. Off to the right center there, that's Amtrak's the Pennsy main line going overhead there. We're still at Radnor.
Better late than never. Don't get caught again.
And this is at the Radnor station up on the Pennsy, just
Station, Dan. Oh, baby.
And there's the Radnor station, train heading to Center City, Philadelphia.
SEPTA's got the ugliest MU cars out there, you know? I don't.
A friend of mine designed them, so I can't say a whole lot about them. This is St. David's. Town has put the Pennsy Keystones back up on the station there. Here comes the westbound Pennsylvania.
Right?
Now, this photo had some issues.
They're like Manchester St. David's.
Sorry?
I think we're on the speaker. I'm sorry. I should shut up, I guess.
Yeah, we're all hearing you.
Done and still wants to stay for the laptop. That did exactly what El Salvador said to do, and now it's still the laptop. But we can get by.
We can hear you. Thank you, Russell. We can hear you all broadcast.
Yeah, mute your computer, Russ. Russ, you should mute your computer.
So this photo here, I try to get artsy with it. I actually use the pop-up flash on my camera to light up the St. David's sign, but the composition is a little bit messed up. The train's down too close to the bottom of the picture, and the engine is slightly blurred. So I actually ran it through Photoshop and then Topaz Sharpen, added some stuff to the bottom of it using just AI generative fill, and then the Sharpen cleaned up the nose of the locomotive pretty well. don't look too close at it. There's some funky stuff going on in the lower left-hand corner, where AI just sort of made things up. But for a quick glance photo, it's not awful. Silverliner 4 heading west at St. David's. And then here's the Pennsy car going away past the Keystones at St. David's. I had hoped to get this coming back out again later on with the light on the nose when it was coming out with the headlight lit, but the app showed it was going to come back and terminate down in Center City. So I didn't wait around. As it turned out, it did come back out again. I just missed it. But here we have the Pennsy on the Pennsy, though.
That's good.
And here's a set of Silverliner 4s coming in. Still at St. David's. That was the other direction. And here comes the Pennsylvanian heading toward Philadelphia.
You can hear that okay right now?
Yeah, the problem is when you talk, everybody can hear you. Because you gotta mute your computer.
Now we're on the Media Sharon Hill line out of Upper Darby. This is on the Media line, Paper Mill Road. Did this broadside here because of shadows everywhere else. Unfortunately, I didn't anticipate that one pole shadow hitting the front of the car, so I kind of screwed up the picture. But and then from there, I went to Providence Road. We're on the edge of Media. We got a few cars there. Just a little bit of color left in the trees. And then this is down into Media. It's all single track down through town. The trolleys run right down the middle of the street. Even more locally, I live about 2 blocks off of Conrail's Pennsgrove Secondary. And I hear trains go south, usually in the morning about 8:30. And then like clockwork, they come back out of Pennsgrove at about 11:20. I happened to be down in Pennsgrove one day, right at 11:20. So I knew he was coming out, so I decided to do a little quick chase with him. It's like, here he is coming up through Pennsgrove. This is at Pedricktown. This is all Conrail shared assets. Some weeks they have CSX power on them. Some weeks they have Norfolk Southern power. Sometimes it's a mix. And then the movable bridge at Bridgeport. Train pulls up, it stops. The bridge is remote controlled from somewhere else. Once the train is stopped, the bridge begins to close. He just sits there. And then once it's closed, the train comes across. Wound up back in Philly again for another Heritage Silverliner. Here we have a set of Silverliner 4s approaching the Eastwick station, which is the closest station to International Airport that is not at the airport. And this day was the Penn Central Heritage engine unit, Silverliner 4. Here he is coming up out of the airport. Once again, Penn Central heralds the SEPTA meatball logo. From there, I went over to the Northeast Corridor. I was making my way up to Bryn Mawr again. Over to the Northeast Corridor, I went into Ridley Park, checked the schedule, and sure enough, there's the Amtrak train due any minute. So I got this Amtrak train there and continued on my way. Quick stop in Media. The trolleys weren't running this day. It was all buses. This was on a weekend. They had buses substituting for the trolleys, but I did stop at the Media heavy rail station and got these Silverliners laying over there. The reason I was heading up this way to Bryn Mawr is because Amtrak had one of its This locomotive in the brand new Amtrak paint scheme, leading the Pennsylvanian. It's a pretty sharp paint scheme. Certainly an improvement over the platinum mist we've been having for the last decade. And still at Bryn Mawr, Center City bound set of Silverliner 4s. This line still has the Pennsylvania Railroad position light signals on it. You can see one up there in the wires. It's actually lit. The wires are blocking the lights. Back over to the Norristown High Speed Line. This is at Ardmore Avenue in Haverford. Also at Ardmore Avenue. And this is at Beechwood. Train heading toward Upper Darby. And at Beechwood, there's still an old powerhouse that used to supply the power to the third rail on this line. I believe that it's all commercial power now. Then I was coming down, back down from the high speed line, got over to the area of Swarthmore, which is only a mile off of the interstate. I spun into there because there was a train due within 20 minutes and got the last bit of sunlight down there in Swarthmore. Excuse me, Wallingford. Swarthmore is the next station east. This is Wallingford. This is on the Media line that goes out through Media to Wawa. Okay, SMS number 9 made its debut. These are the shots I couldn't show you last month. I got invited over to SMS when they were making their promotional video for number 9, but I couldn't show any of the photos until the video came out, which was a day after the last Wednesday night slides. But here's SMS number 9, ex-US Army, on its promotional day. Over there in the fireman's seat, that's Jeff Such. He's the president of SMS. Number 9 is his baby.
Where did it come from?
U.S. Army to Virginia Blue Ridge to New Hope and Ivy Land to SMS. Engineer Dan. And we did a few run-bys with it so they could get some video to put into the promotional piece.
Nice looking.
Yeah. And we found some lingering fall colors. This is late October. Lingering fall colors. Did a few run-bys going by those. And I got up in the cab for a while. And then they wanted to do some video of it pulling out of the shop. So they ran it in and out of the shop a couple of times. And there's President Such taking some video of his locomotive out on the SMS property at Pure Land Industrial Park. And then when they were done with the video stuff, they had to move some radioactive material that they get shipped in to transload. So number 9 did a little bit of switching in the yard when they were done. Eventually, it was moved from Pure Land over to Woodstown Central. From Pure Land Industrial Park to the north end of Woodstown Central, it's 3 miles by road. It's 30 miles by railroad. They started off by getting towed over Conrail shared assets, this time with Norfolk Southern Power. Here they are crossing the movable bridge at Bridgeport. I got down to Woodstown 2 days before the Railfan and Railroad 50th anniversary weekend that was held from Friday through Sunday. And we started off on Friday night with some night photos. With Baldwin 304 and SMS Woodstown Central 9, the 060. Now, someone said to me, we got this nice, we parked it here because of the two train shot. But someone said to me, well, you parked it, got this nice boxcar, but you got a phone pole in the way. So just for fun, I went into Photoshop and see what I could do. So got the vanishing phone pole. Still left a phone pole shadow, over the A and Lackawanna there. And then we did some shots of it being put away into the brand new engine house. This went up in like 2 weeks. There was no place to keep the engine over in South Woodstown, so they built this engine house, and it went up really fast.
Yeah, the framework was there. They were working on that when we were there in Columbus Day weekend.
That's right, and then it was done. They were putting the doors on it the day before it moved from Pure. The day before the locomotive moved from Pure Land, so it was up pretty fast. There's the Baldwin with a short freight train. Next day, we spent all day on Woodstown Central. Unfortunately, due to the drought, we could not take number 9 very far. A lot of the railroad runs through woods, isolated woods. If a fire got started in there, it would burn acres and acres and acres before you get to it. So instead of doing run-bys out on the line with it, we did a couple of run-bys of it coming out of the new engine house to start off the morning. We did some run-bys with the passenger train as well. Here we see former Pennsylvania Reading Seashore Lines GP 38 2003 on the north end of the passenger train. This is on original PRSL trackage. So this locomotive is back on home rails again. They had to switch the freight cars out of the way. The vintage freight cars are not FRA compliant yet as of the weekend. They're on the verge of it, just needed the final paperwork. They couldn't quite get it in time. But they were in the way, so they had to put them out of the way and put number 9 on the ballast cars. We went down to Mannington. The 9 couldn't come down here with us because of through the woods, because of the fire danger. We stopped at Mannington Mills, and we split the photo line into half here because I couldn't fit 100 people in one spot. So this was the alternate angle, and it turned to be a better angle than I thought it was going to be. I thought this would just be a throwaway shot, but it was actually pretty nice. So half the photo line was here.
Dave?
After a couple of run-bys, we swapped them over and did 2 more run-bys. This is the primary shot as seen from the air.
Nice.
From there, it was lunchtime, and after lunch, we had everybody drive to Memorial Lake in Woodstown because this is too far to walk from the tracks. So we had everybody drive there after lunch and did a couple of run-bys with the 9 crossing over the lake. And then we posed it on the causeway for anybody who want to take a drone out and photograph it from the air. And then we went to the town park and did a couple of run-bys there. The lake is about 2 blocks behind the caboose. South Woodstown is about quarter mile ahead of the steam engine. So that was as far as the steam engine went. That's that small area. But the railroad felt pretty safe running it downtown. Not many trees, and if there was a fire, it was easy to get to. So we did a couple of run-bys here at the park. And then we took the passenger train out and did a couple of run-bys with it. Here's XPRSL 2003 going north at the park. And we did some southbound run-bys with the Baldwin here. Once again, 2003 going north. And the Baldwin coming south. Then north of Woodstown, we stopped at Point Airy Road, let everybody off there, and did a northbound run by featuring the 2003. The car behind the 2003, that's the Mineral Spring, ex-Pennsylvania Railroad parlor car. A guy named Paul Mulligan has done an excellent job restoring that. He's put a lot of work into it. Really a nice car. Sunday morning, we all headed over to the SMS shop at Pure Land, and they had a train in pool configuration for us. We could fit half the folks on at a time in the one coach. On one end was this Santa Fe GE, and on the other end was this Pennsylvania Railroad Baldwin. And when we went over all the mainline trackage, mainline in quotes, mainline trackage at Pure Land, about 3 miles worth. The railroad does a lot of car storage here, and usually a lot of it sits out on the main line. They went really out of their way to clear a ton of stuff off the main line and hide it somewhere else, so we could cover just about the entire main line. Even did a photo stop for us at the far south end of the complex. In the shop is X-Rating Company 903. One of 2 FP7s on the property. This one here is getting wheel work done, and once its wheel work is done, it will go into the paint shop for a complete repainting back into Reading colors. Already in the paint shop is the 902, its sister. This locomotive runs now. It's all mechanically sound. They were going to just do a touch-up on it, but when they got into it and saw the rust and everything, they thought, let's do a complete paint job on it. Once these 2 are done, they are going over to the Woodstown Central, and they'll look really good pulling the green coaches over there. And there's the 902. I think that's it for South Jersey. Yes, this is not South Jersey. We're going to finish up here with a trip I took in September 2011 over to the Durango and Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad in Durango, Colorado. They were having their railroad photography event that the railroad puts on themselves, but they got Pete Laro in to do the night photography sessions. So this was on the first night. For all the changes that have gone on in Durango over the years, the roundhouse area somehow has managed to remain looking pretty good. So these 2 engines would be on the regular trains the next day. The 478 would be on the photo train the next day. And we had just finished up 2 days on the Cumbers and Toltec on a charter that Pete put together. Like I said, this down here in Durango, the railroad put on this event, but Pete did the night photos for them. And then they spun the 478 on the turntable at the conclusion of everything. Next day, we're out with the photo train. Now, I didn't ride the photo train. Back then, I was a little bit leery about a railroad sponsored photo event. Sometimes when the railroads do it themselves, they don't know what they're doing. I was a little bit leery, so I didn't spend the money to ride this. What I did do though is I drove to Rockwood and hiked in on the High Line and got the train coming up in the morning. As it turns out, in subsequent years, the Durango and Silverton has actually learned pretty well how to run a good photo event. That's not a charter because they're doing it themselves. Run a good photo event. So I would probably not mind doing another one of their own events eventually. After the special went up, I waited around near the High Line to get the first of the two regular trains heading up to Silverton. And the second one. Then I walked back out of the High Line, hopped in the car, drove to Silverton. First, here's the second train going away on the High Line. With that way cool Rio Grande Vista car there. The first shot you saw of the photo train that I took, I was standing on that rock outcropping that's just below the boxcar behind the locomotive for that shot. So I drove to Silverton, got ahead of the photo train. Here it is coming into Silverton. And then here comes the second of the regular trains. I'm not sure what happened to the first one. And after a quick layover in Silverton, the photo train headed back south again. They actually did a photo run by here, just off the end of the bridge. The photo line is just off the right-hand frame here. And then here comes the first of the regular trains out. Cool Rio Grande logo herald on the bridge there. I got a free range Railfan off to the right-hand side there. And here's the second train getting ready to come out. And I relocated for him and got him coming out on the bridge. So trains were out of Silverton. I hopped in the car, drove back down to Rockwood, hiked back in on the High Line, and got the photo train down there. And they also stopped here for a photo run by. So that was pretty impressive. Not a lot of room here, but they fit everybody in. They did a blow down during the run by. I really like this angle here, but whenever these photo trains get down here, it's usually later in the day and the shadows are starting to creep in. You got some shadows on the locomotive here. Another hour or two earlier, this would be a really, really, really sweet shot. So the photo train loaded, it left. Here comes the first of the two regular service trains down from Silverton. And the second train coming down. That night, Pete did another night photo session at the Durango Roundhouse. This time with the 478, the 473 that was on the train is in the engine house. So this looked kind of cool in black and white. And we did some scenes inside the shops here on this night.
Nice shot, Steve.
Thanks. And the whole lineup of locomotives. Next day, I guess they're doing another photo train. The details are kind of fuzzy. I don't remember. But I did walk back in on the High Line to get the next day photo train coming up.
Yeah, there was a second one. They did northbound run-bys on one day and southbound run-bys on the other. I just don't remember which train did which.
Okay. Well, it was definitely southbound on the first day because I beat the train from Silverton down to the High Line easily. Okay. And of course, I didn't stay the entire day because I had plane tickets out of Denver the next day. I had to hit the road. But I did hop in the car, walked out of the High Line, hopped in the car, drove to Silverton, and got the photo train up in Silverton. This diesel was up there, one of their maintenance away diesels. And the regular train came into Silverton. I only shot one. I don't know if they ran two that day or not. I shot one according to my photos. But I had to hop in the car and get moving. I had to get back up to Denver. But I went sort of the long way around, maybe. I wound up at Moffett Tunnel that night. This is not Moffett Tunnel. This is still that first train coming into Silverton. Wound up at Moffett Tunnel that night. I had seen a photo taken here at night of a train coming out of the tunnel where you could distinctly see the three lights of the Christmas tree of the headlights on the locomotive. When I got here, there's a door, ventilation door that's down. It went up. I saw the headlight. That shot that I saw was completely fake. There's just no way you can see the three lights, the two ditch lights and the headlight distinctly. It's just a blob. And the photographs is a blob. This is the best I could do. The other guy cheated. But here's a train coming up out of Moffett Tunnel heading towards Denver. And then I got out of the way and I got this shot here as he went streaking through. That's going to bring an end to tonight's slideshow. Next program is December 18th. Christmas is a Wednesday. This is the Wednesday before that. Between now and then is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving. I'm going to sign off here for the YouTubers. And